story behind this name, please?
Well, okay. Yes, it's quite a simple story, but quite, I think, significant. When I first met Bap Dada, it was sometime in 1974. And I went with a very small group of people from the Leicester Centre and Sister Jayanti. And they were not really used to seeing Western people in Madhuban. And so this was something very new and different. So I was a kind of unusual appearance there. And so Jayantiben introduced me to Baba. And Baba said, she is Vijayanti.
Ah, okay.
And so I thought, ooh, what is this? Because, you know, when one is prepared initially to come to Madhuban, you receive a lot of hints and tips and instructions, and this is how you should do. And you also receive a lot of background about Brahma Kumaris. And of course, one of the stories that was very much mentioned is that the names of all the original BKs were changed by Bap Dada, by Brahma Baba or Shiv Baba through Brahma Baba. And so, for example, Dadi Kumarka was the name given by Brahma Baba, but Shiv Baba gave the name Prakash Mani. And so through the transmedium, which I believe was Dadi Gulzar at the time, he gave a list of something in the region of 300 names. So everybody was given a name. So Didi Manmohini and so many. Now, Dadi Janki was also given a name, but she didn't use it. She was given the name Janak by Brahma Baba. He used to always call her that. But otherwise, she would be called Dadi Janki by everyone. And I can't remember what was the name given by Sheikh Baba, although I knew it, but I can't remember. And so everyone, you know, Dadi Nirmal Shanta, Dadi Ganga, you know, all these daddies had been given names. And occasionally Baba would give a name to someone else. For example, Vedanti, this name was given to her by Baba. And so it was not impossible, but it was very unusual for Baba to give someone a name. And so when he gave me a name, I thought, wow, this is amazing. What does it mean? What should I do? And so on the first day, I started using it and saying, oh, I am Vijayanti, but the reaction by other people was not good. So I thought, ooh, I better be quiet about this, because this seems to be something that is disapproved of for some reason. So I didn't use it, but every so often throughout my Brahmin life, I would get some sort of a touching from Baba, remember your name, you are Vijayanti, don't forget, this is who you are. And I would think that this is for me privately, personally, inside my mind. And I didn't think that I should use it externally. But recently I had visited South Africa, and in that it came up, and I got a very strong sign from Baba that, look, I gave you this name. I gave it to you for a reason. It has significance, and as long as you don't use it, I'm not able to use you as I want to use you. And so you better start using it. So I thought, ooh, well, I better. And so then I thought, well, how do I do this? You know, because everybody knows me as Denise, and it's quite widely known. And so how do you change your name? And I thought, well, better start somewhere. So I changed it on my YouTube channel. And so if you go there, you'll see the word Vijayanti underneath my picture. And a few of my close friends are starting to call me Vijayanti. And I thought, okay, I better do that. Better do that now. And so
I'm sorry, Denise, sorry to interrupt you. Joachim, can you, there are quite a number of people in the waiting room. Can you let them in, please?
No, they are not in the waiting room. It's just because we are 100, and this is the maximum.
Ah, okay.
So we can add any more people.
I thought my Zoom can handle 500, I believe.
It seems to be only 100.
Ooh, okay. Okay, can you live stream it to YouTube or something?
Yes, but I don't know how to give the information. We can do it.
Okay, yeah, live stream it to YouTube, and we'll ask people. Oh, you need access to my YouTube, or put it on your YouTube.
I'm going to put it on the YouTube. Okay, I try something. Let me just 2 minutes.
And then I think, Denise, you need to send the link in your groups.
Yes. Let's see.
Okay.
Victorious. It means the conqueror. It means you will make it. That sort of thing.
Very meaningful, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very good name for me to remember at times when I may be facing some challenge or something, and then I'll say, you know, and I did get this experience from Baba, you know, in trouble, I'm always with you and remember your name, so you'll be fine, don't worry. So I say, okay. So here I am, Vijayanti, and for some people that's too much of a thing. So a lot of people just call me D, you know. So I said it's very easy, go from D to V. No.
That's true, yeah. Yeah.
So that's the reason. So I will appear as Vijayanti, but I will answer to the name Denise as needed.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Everyone can find you.
Mm.
Yeah. And I think we can maybe start, Denise, if you can start with to give us some clarification of what the meaning of good wishes. Because Baba often said, yeah, do Mansa Seva and send your good wishes. And many times we hear very simple answers, just to give good wishes. So what are the good wishes?
Well, in Hindi, he uses the word Shubh Chintan. And Chintan is like a stream of thoughts. And what happens to people when they are irritated with someone, or they don't agree, or they think they're doing something wrong, or they think that they should not be allowed to do what it is they're doing or be what it is they're being, they will start a stream of thoughts that, how come this person is allowed to do this? Why is it like this? You know, what should be done? Something should be done, and it goes on and on. It becomes something like obsessive compulsive thoughts. And so when Baba says Shubh Chintan, Shubh Chintak, Chintak is like a person who is in the habit of having good thoughts about people regardless. So now one of the things that we know is that this is a drama and all of us are actors. And if you think of yourself as a part of a theatre troupe, your relationship with the other actors is good, even if there's somebody's playing a devil or a ghost or a criminal or something. You still talk to that person when you're not doing the performance. You talk to them as a friend and colleague and somebody that you are very favorable towards. And so we have to remember that this is a drama and people are playing predetermined roles. And so therefore we should not be thinking about people on the basis of what they're doing, but thinking about them as fellow players in the drama. Because the thing is this, if you start thinking badly about someone, eventually you'll start speaking badly about them. And this then becomes a karmic bondage between yourself and that person, which means that, other people will start thinking badly about you. So you need to take care of yourself in the sense that, the reason why you do what you do is in the context of the study and practice of Raj Yoga, more than in the context of whether or not things are right and wrong. And we also have the Ramayana, which is one of the very famous Indian scriptures. And the Ramayana tells us that the most unreliable thing of all is public opinion. And public opinion is the thing that determines whether something's right or wrong. You see, our word morality comes from the Latin word mores. And mores means the customs of any particular group of people. So our morality is based on public opinion, actually. And Baba wants us to have a different morality altogether, which is based on Srimad. And this is very difficult because people, I think, don't really understand Srimad. Because people tend to use the word Srimad for many things which is not Srimad. And there's many reasons for this, which are quite understandable, but sometimes we need to really sit down with these things and be precise and look at what is really Srimad, what is really right and wrong, and how we should think about these things according to the principles of spirituality, which is very different from the principles of religion. Because religion is based on a patriarchal system where the patriarchy decided what's right and wrong, and that's that. But they're humans, they're not God. So when he's teaching us to have good wishes, he wants us to really see souls and to understand that all souls are actors and they're doing what they have to do. So if somebody's doing something wrong, I think the easiest way to handle it is to remind yourself that, okay, if somebody's doing something wrong, you have less competition. So you don't need to stop them from doing something wrong. Anyway, it's fixed in their drama that they will do that. And also it depends on your position, your relationship in the drama with them, whether you have a duty to do something, whether you don't, whether how wrong it is. There are many, many things. But in general, the reason why people have bad thoughts about someone in the context of a BK family, where the people are on the whole relatively good people, is mostly because of jealousy. And it is considered in the context of India, the social attitudes of India, that if you're jealous of somebody, you will try to harm them. And this is very true. So it's also a way of Baba teaching people that you do not have the right to think badly about someone because you're jealous. That's your negative karma, and you will get minus points if you're doing that. And Baba is grading us all the time, all the time, all the time. And he's not grading us on circumstances, he's grading us on how we are responding to circumstances. Let's see. So that's what I think Good Wishes is. Yeah.
Thank you, Denise. How can you give some expand? How can we make good wishes powerful?
Well,
and also related to that, how can we give good wishes in a situation when clearly it's not correct? That means right is right, even wrong is also considered right. In that case, how can we give good wishes and powerful?
Yeah, it depends, because people make statements like that, and circumstances and situations need to be looked at one by one, and we cannot make generalities like this: right is right, wrong is right, and who says what's right. It depends on who's getting an advantage. So it's not quite as straightforward as people would think. We say that something is wrong according to criteria that are embedded in the culture that we grew up in. And the morality of different cultures is different. And people have different religions, and their morality also comes from the religion. There are a lot of common elements, but I'll give you an interesting example that I sometimes take up. If somebody lies to you, you say, well, they're doing something wrong. Maybe, but the point is, you need to be so honest that if somebody lies to you, you will know. So if you know that they're lying, it doesn't matter because you know. So it doesn't matter whether they're lying or not because you know. If they lie to you and you don't get it, that's because you're not sufficiently honest, which means that they're lying and your inability to grasp it is the same. So who's good and who's bad? Nobody's particularly good. A really honest person will know if someone's lying. And what your aim is to become honest. Now, there are many tests that we have to take in Raj Yoga. One of them is betrayal. And of course, people don't like being betrayed. And so because you don't like something, you'll say it's wrong. But you will be betrayed sooner or later, and several times by several people. You'll be betrayed by people you trust. You'll be betrayed by people who you honor, etc., etc. So betrayal is a very important exam to take. So only pretty high-level yogis have to take very difficult exams. So if somebody betrays you, then you can immediately think, ooh, I must be a high-level yogi because otherwise I wouldn't get betrayed. So you're turning it around. And if somebody betrays you, then you have to handle the difficult situation that they put you in terms of your emotions, your sense of self, your shock, your whatever it is. And whenever some bad thing like that happens, then you have been given the powers of yoga for the purpose of handling it. And so whether it's good or bad is actually secondary to how you handle it, which is primary. But because people are mostly body conscious, the knee-jerk reaction to some so-called bad thing is to consider it bad because that's part of your consciousness of your gender, your color, your religion, your caste, your social position, your BK position, or whatever it is. And these, you immediately think it's bad. You don't immediately think, oh, I'm under test here. What's the exam? What's going on here between me and Baba? You see, because he says that you have to be all the time with Baba. And your relationship with the drama is to be a detached observer. But very often when the situation comes up, you are not a detached observer. You may become later on, but the instant you get pulled in, which Baba would say, you failed the test because you didn't get it. And this is what he means by, we have this word intense yoga, and the Hindi for that is Tivra Purusharat. Sorry, intense yoga, there's this volcanic yoga, but Tivra they usually translate as intense. And intense is not what Tivra means. Tivra means high speed. So when you get a test, it comes instantly, and it gets you off balance, it gets you off guard, and you do a knee-jerk reaction, which means you failed the test. So if you had really high-speed effort, we say Tivra Purusharat, high-speed effort, that means you are so conscious of what you have to do for the self while engaged in action, that you immediately grasp that this is a test, what kind of a test it is, and what response you should have, and you have 1 second to do it. Of course, that is practically impossible, but that is the nature of our exam. So when you look back on a situation and analyze it from the kind of angle that I'm looking at it here, you can understand that, yes, you are a high-grade yogi, because otherwise you wouldn't get a difficult test. And as a high-grade yogi, you should be handling the test, but you failed it. So you have to kind of go back and look at the situation, accept the fact that for that particular moment you were asleep, body conscious, unaware, and you missed the cue, you can say. In acting, you have a cue. So you missed the cue and you responded as a normal, regular, body conscious human. And it would be better if you had caught it and said, wait a minute, and give yourself a second or two to just do nothing and set yourself in your state of self-respect, and then really understand, okay, in this situation, I need to be in my power. I need to disregard what the person did because they were trying to provoke me, and they succeeded. But I wish them not to succeed. I wish myself to succeed in remaining unperturbed by this provocation. Then I would say I passed the test properly. And when you analyze these situations after the event, this analysis needs to go into your memory bank. because you will be tested again and again and again, because this is where you're weak, you see. And it's a kind of ego reaction, right? We all have plenty of ego. And so it will be tested. And Baba will be looking at us. Are we making any improvements? I think if we don't analyze ourselves and we don't prepare ourselves for the next test, and we don't see how the situation builds up to the test, because there is a little build up, even if it may be really quick, but there'll be a little build up. And so you have to catch all these things. This is what's meant by, high speed effort. When you translate it as intense effort, I don't think you know what you're meant to do. So I prefer to go with the original meaning of the word, tivara, which is high speed. You have to be fast in your responses. And this is comparable to, the people who do martial arts. They learn to see exactly what's coming when the opponent is coming to knock them down. You have to see exactly what they're planning to do and have a response so that you don't get knocked down and you win. And in the same way, we need to do that second by second. And we can only do that when we're with Baba and when we're soul conscious. And who is soul conscious to that extent all the time in general situations? Not too many. Well, that means that none of us are really at the level that Baba wants us to be. So that means that we need to think about these things and see about how we actually upgrade the quality of our spiritual practice. Yeah.
Thank you, Denise. There's another question. Is there a link or any relations between good wishes and pure feelings? Are they in a sequence order when we give or send good wishes to someone? How can I make my good wishes also effective? Because often we try very hard, spend a lot of time in meditation and send good wishes. And that's also my personal experience. And nothing happened. And then at a certain point, I found there was something, a very subtle form of ego. So my question is, whether I should set up or check if my feeling for that person is pure, any hidden agenda behind my good wishes or not? How can I, that's the question. Thank you.
Yeah, it's, feelings is from your heart. And good wishes is more intentional. That means it comes from your intellect. And most people are judgmental because we think across the cultural spectrum, we tend to look at people as being better than us or worse than us. And if we can find fault with someone, that makes us feel better, because then that other person is not better than me, but I'm better than that person, just makes me okay. And I think a lot of this has to do with ego in the sense of inferiority complex. Because ego is superiority or inferiority, and we flip-flop between the two. So if you see somebody being so-called bad, and then you put yourself relative to them, that makes you good in comparison with them, But then if you're comparing yourself with Baba, who he says, if you want to compare yourself with me, and then you're never better than Baba, because you know there's just too many faults that will come up in front of your intellect, and you will not be able to say, I am better than Shiv Baba or Brahma Baba, or especially sometimes people would criticize the daddies. Oh, this daddy did that, and that daddy did this, and therefore they're not okay. Which you were saying, I'm better than this daddy. I'm a brand new Raj Yogi, and they've been doing it for many years, and they've been put in that position by Baba, who doesn't seem to understand too much. That's really egotistical, you see. But people do it without realizing the extent to which that is egotistical. And then if you also look at somebody and you get impressed by them, and you think, oh, they're wonderful, marvelous, and fantastic, I'll never be able to make it, then you flipped into the inferiority thing. So all of this is to do with ego. And ego is really the actual meaning of body consciousness. And so if we're not body conscious, if we're soul conscious, then it means we're egoless. And if you remember the last 3 words of Brahma Baba, egoless, bodiless, viceless, that encapsulates everything just in 3 words. But it took him, and it takes us, years of study and practice to grasp these subtleties. And when you have pure feelings, I think that it could be sequential to good wishes, because good wishes, you have to decide to have good wishes. Pure feelings, I don't think it's a decision. You either have it or you don't. And so it's very authentic. And to create a heart which is clean and pure and sees the value and qualities of a person without judging them, because it's not our job to condemn. Judgment is one of the powers, so we do have to judge, but we don't have to condemn. And a lot of people use the word judgment when they mean condemnation. And this is because poor old English language is hardly known by the best English speakers. And because we do not use words according to what they mean, but we use words according to how people have distorted them, and we join in with the distortions. And that becomes a good excuse to pretend to be much better person than you really are. But then you don't want to fall into a depression of thinking that you're really bad and you can't make it. So then you go along with not using the word condemnation where you should be, and using the word judgment, and then telling people not to be judgmental, and it all gets very confusing. And it means that a person's ability to evaluate their character is very out of focus and fuzzy. And we permit ourselves to get away with it. So again, I think these things are, simple words, good wishes, pure feelings, simple words, but there's so much depth to them. And, there's another question that came to me about people thinking good wishes means that you have to be subservient and then allow people to abuse you and things like that. And I think that again shows that people do not understand the English language because people are told, if you are doing this or thinking this or feeling this, then it means you are subservient or something like that. That's incorrect, heavily incorrect. And so we have to be very particular about our use of words. When it comes to spirituality, you know, I don't know if you're aware, but in the Murlis, Baba uses at least 9 different languages because he will pick the word in the language that means exactly what he wants to say. And we suffer in a sense from translation because for a translator to really go into the depth of what exactly is being said here, it takes forever and you have to really think hard. And not everybody has that kind of time. But all of us here are really trying to upgrade our spiritual efforts, our spiritual practice. And because of that, I think it's really useful to look at these words in fine detail to see exactly what they mean. Because when you want to acquire a characteristic that is represented by a word, you need to know what that word means. Otherwise, you will acquire some other characteristic, which is not what that word means. And yeah, you know, and there are words like this word pursharat always is translated as effort, and it's used like that by most people. But pursharat, if you break it down, it means enlightened self-interest. It means that you will do something which is for the sake of your own soul, which is very different from the feeling you get when you use the word effort, which has to do with something laborious and that you're trying and you're putting in some forceful effort. And that's quite gross. And spirituality is very subtle. So I think it's very useful to sit with these words, a few of these words, and really think about what it means so that we're on the same page. Because when you use words incorrectly, there's lots of misunderstanding. Because one uses it one way, somebody else uses it another way, and you don't realize that you're using the word in a different way, and you end up not being on the same page at all until things go really wrong, and then you realize that there's been a lack of understanding because of lack of the use of language correctly. And that's a phenomenon that we have to work around because you can't change that situation. But what you can do is be particular for yourself to use the word which means what you want to say. And if somebody says something and they're using the word which you detected differently from how you're using it, then you say, could you please explain what you mean by that particular word? And then you can be on the same page.
Very good, Denise. There's one question here in the chat. Someone said, I find very hard and theoretical to have good wishes and pure feelings to those who cause me sorrow, and hypocrite ones I have tendency to detach and step away from them. Is that a good way? What would you suggest? What would you recommend or your advice? Should I repeat?
I might ask you to repeat, but let me start with this word, people give me sorrow. Now, one of the things that Baba has told us is don't take sorrow. So if somebody's giving you sorrow, that's their problem. It doesn't have to be your problem. So if somebody's giving you sorrow, that's up to them. But your concern is yourself. And so the first thing to ask yourself is, how come I am allowing myself to be wounded or by this other person. What's going on here? You see, because the Raj Yoga is completely different from normal human interaction, where they're all about this person made me angry and somebody else gave me sorrow and blah, blah, blah. Now, sorrow is an emotion. So somebody did something or said something which triggered an emotion, which means you are very easy to manipulate. And how do you feel about that? You see, so if I'm very easy to manipulate, it means I'm basically still a little bit of a child, and I need to do something about that. Because if this one is giving me sorrow, then lots of people are going to give me sorrow because I'm such an easy person to disturb. Now I should do something about that. And that's to do with self-respect, you see. So somebody gives you sorrow, what did they do? They insulted you, they didn't respect you the way you wanted to be, or what? The situation has always to do with some area of body consciousness that you haven't quite identified, that this susceptibility that I have is being triggered because I need to know about it, you see. And if I think the other person is giving me sorrow, it's because my attention is on judging their behavior, and I'm not attentive on being a Raj Yogi. And a Raj Yogi is somebody who has power of tolerance. So if you have power of tolerance, they shouldn't be able to give you sorrow. If you have power of accommodation, they shouldn't be able to give you sorrow. If you have power of discrimination, you would discern that here's somebody who's trying to touch my soft spot, my wound, and this is a sign from drama, from Baba, that says, hey, soul, wake up. You have to respond to this, not in your usual baby way, but as a proper adult, serious, self-respecting Raj Yogi, you see. And you say, okay, that person gave me sorrow, therefore they are wrong. And I would say, okay, that person gave you sorrow, why did you take it? Who's wrong here? You can't do anything about somebody else's part in drama on the whole. But what Raj Yoga is about is how do I handle in the blink of an eye the behavior of somebody that triggered my tendency to get upset. You see, put it to yourself like that, and then your attention goes back to yourself, because the person is just basically an instrument to let you know that you have this weakness. And then you have to think about, okay, now what do I have to do? How do I have to think of myself? What does this really mean? And mostly it means that you haven't acquired certain social skills. You see, because you need the social skills to stand up for yourself. You see, and then some BK will say, well, if you're standing up for yourself, it means you're angry. Come on. Anger is another emotion, you see. And so BKs in general use these circumstances to blame. And again, you know, misusing the English language. Anger is not a vice, anger is an emotion. If you start, you know, doing actions which are violent on the basis of your anger, and you go out of control because you let yourself get out of control, that is the vice. But the emotion is not a vice, you see. And you need to understand that in different cultures, somebody may use the word anger meaning violence, but when you use the word anger, you mean that you are upset and angry and out of control, and that's an emotion. So you have to distinguish what's going on here. And if you are triggered by someone's behavior, it means that you are weak, because they could succeed in provoking you. So the problem is not the other person's anger. And if you get angry, the problem is you didn't understand how to process that provocation. And so your knee-jerk reaction is this uncontrollable emotion. And uncontrollable emotions are connected with your wounds, your psychic wounds, because people have all sorts of traumas, and they react to traumas according to the psychologists by fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. These are the 4 ways that people reaction. So fight means anger, flight means run away. Freeze means you just don't know what to do, so you just freeze over, and then people can do what they want with you. Or fawn means you start saying, oh, nicey, nicey, sweetie, miserable devil, if I'm nice enough to you, you won't rape me. This is how, especially it is said in the patriarchal system, for young girls who get raped, it's your fault, because you weren't nice to him. If you were nice to him, he wouldn't do it. Excuse me, that's absolute lies. But you see, it's all part of the culture, and there are so many BKs who do not distinguish between these cultural messages, especially to children and women and girls and old women, that it's designed to exploit and damage the females, because the religion says males have souls and females don't, so you can treat them like animals or objects. And this is the problem. When you say, I'm a soul, that invalidates the entire narrative of the patriarchal system, which says everyone's either a male or a female. You say, I'm a soul, that means you need to place yourself in a position of equality with whoever it is that is trying to make you betray yourself and allow yourself to be abused or bossed around or made to feel stupid or small or whatever. And this is what Baba is teaching us. You are a soul. Suppose you say, I have 84 births in the cycle. 42 are female bodies and 42 are male bodies. So tell me what you are. You're not. You're gender. This is soul conscious. You're not your bodily color. You're not your race. You're a being. And you have to build your self-respect, and you have to respect other people as such. You see, this is what Raj Yoga is teaching. We're not teaching the same stuff that the religions teach, which is gender bias, race bias, culture bias, all these biases. We're not doing that in Raj Yoga. We're doing something different. Don't mix it up.
Thank you, Denise. Talking about soul consciousness, when we give some good wishes and sitting in yoga with Baba, and when we are in the soul consciousness, Baba said that we think, remember only him. And how can we, or what is the right way to do when we want to send good wishes to one particular soul?
Okay, why do you want to send good wishes to one particular soul? The most important thing is to decide on what your motive is, because motive is key in karma. And so sometimes it is told in the context of the expression good wishes, have good wishes for the person who is giving you a serious hard time, which may be your husband if you are a wife and you want to be a Raj Yogi and your husband doesn't want it and he is abusing you. So they say to her, okay, give him good wishes. And then generally speaking, this is interpreted as be nicey, nicey, sweetie, sweetie, and then he won't do it, which is not going to work at all. But what will work is you have to come into your self-respect and your self-regard and see the soul with love. Love is a very powerful energy. You see the soul with love, and good wishes in that sense is you're reminding that person who he is or who she is, and you're not going to take any abuse. But you're also not going to be antagonistic with that soul, because that puts you in bondage with the soul. So when you are looking at that soul dispassionately with love, you're not caught up in that person. You have your own life to live. You have your own connection with Shiv Baba, and you know what is the correct action in the social situation that you are, and you do that regardless of all the games that the other person may play, but you remain with an attitude of love, which doesn't mean being lovey-dovey and stupid. You see, people don't quite understand the meaning of the word love, and they think it means be some kind of pink frilly angel or something. That's not love, that's stupidity.
Okay, very good. There's one, two, three questions. Okay, you hear me? Okay. The three questions in the chat. Let me read the first one. How to deal with someone else jealousy about you, and how to deal with your jealousy about someone else.
Well, if you're jealous of someone else, we can understand that you don't recognize your value. You don't understand who you are. You think that if only you could be like them or have their position or something like that, then other people would think better of you. But deep down, your jealousy is you don't have self-respect, you don't recognize your value, you don't understand the right of another to be who they are and to enjoy the fruits of their own good karma. If someone is jealous of you, it means the tables are turned. And what happens when someone is jealous of you is they will do all sorts of things to harm you, to prevent you from progressing, to damage you. And so you use your powers and you get through it because whatever is destined for you, you will get. And if you have to handle somebody else's jealousy, it will make you develop skills to do with coming into your own power, asserting yourself, being who you are, and not minding that they're jealous of you. There you can use good wishes because you understand that it's a kind of compassion. You understand that they're jealous of you because they're weak and they can't stand it that you're stronger than them or whatever it is that they're jealous of. And this is body consciousness. So again, I would say that, you know, the spiritual vibration and resonance of love is a very good instrument to apply to the situation and not mind and just carry on. It's okay.
That's very clear. Thank you. Thank you for your explanation. There's a question here. I'm still wrapping my mind around the true meaning of effort. So it's a little bit side question. Is it more of a state of being of benevolence toward our soul? And out of that, we act. That means trying harder. Mainly, I just want to make sure that I understand the true definition, as it seems a critical distinction, making efforts.
Absolutely. That's why I go to the original language, which is Hindi, and I see, okay, what is this word? And the word is Purusharat. And I mentioned this a little bit earlier in our conversation, that Purush means the soul, and Arat means for the sake of. So anything you do for the sake of your soul, that's what Baba is encouraging us to do. To me, I would not use the word effort because it's very misleading. And I prefer to use the word enlightened self-interest, which sometimes people don't like that word either because they don't realize what it means, or to act for the sake of the self. Because you have to act for the sake of yourself. You are being evaluated by God in terms of how well you've understood what He's teaching and to what extent you have drawn power and qualities into yourself through yoga and made yourself into a fully self-actuated person. And when you use the word effort, there is this aspect where you lay yourself open to people blaming you for being lazy or useless or whatever. And again, I would say that it's a word that comes from this patriarchal religious approach to spirituality, which I think is quite irrelevant, really. I mean, we are people who have been studying this and practicing this for many, many years. And so it is in our interest to be self-empowered and in our own power, adult, and we answer to God. We are judged by God. If somebody else wants to judge me, it's not going to be a very reliable judgment, is it? So I should not be running around trying to please somebody or making them think I'm wonderful, marvelous, and fantastic when they have no clue who I am or what I am, because it's very deep, it's very subtle, it's very secret in a way, who you are really deeply inside. Only God really knows you.
Yes, talking about the language, this is another question, one question related both languages you grasp so well, and one particular word that can give many Catholic or Brahmins used to have Catholic beliefs or Catholic people a burden. That word is sin. The question is whether it creates or gives some levels of heaviness or burden to the Hindu people?
I think it does, because you have to also look at these things in the light of history. And there are quite a lot of studies that have been done about what happens to people who have been under colonial rule for a long time. And it also is connected with people having their race considered low, their religion considered low, their culture considered low, and so on. This is the system of colonialism, is to cause the colonized people to be inferior in their own eyes. And the religion is one of the main instruments to do that. And so this definitely creates a reaction, which is also sometimes called a generational trauma, or a trauma of a whole set of people. And one of the things that is being looked at the moment by a lot of people is the sort of psychological damage of apartheid. And I was working on a book which takes up that subject, and just how people are, really badly judged by very arrogant people who make those other people feel guilty, and so on and so on. And in the religion of Catholicism, this is quite a strong thing that is, a way of controlling people, limiting people, especially females, and especially people who are not the right color or language group or whatever. And so religion is used to hurt people quite badly. And these are traumas. And that is actually sin when you do that. But you say, I am the great next to God, and you are, something low and despicable and so on, and you should be ashamed of yourself. They use this word, you should be ashamed of yourself. And that is a bad sin to say that to someone, especially a child. You should not be ashamed of yourself. Yourself is made by God perfectly fine. Come on, what is this? But you see, Raj Yoga is really teaching us to undo all of that systematically, and it's a huge job, because all of this is connected with the word taking sorrow. And most of the sin that is disturbing you is other people's sin against you, which makes you react to that, which they call your sin. And this is how most cultures look at it. And this is what we're dealing with. And it's absolutely normal for these attitudes to creep into the BK world, because there are so many people who have this in their background. And of course, when you come into any kind of position of power or authority, you will put that onto whoever's lower down on the, on the ladder of rising up in the gathering. And so this is something that Brahma Baba taught the first group of dadis how to handle, but it wasn't taught after that. And I know this because I had very much connection with the dadis, especially Daddy Janki, who told me about all this. And I thought, wow, this is really, really important information. This is important practice. that was done, and Mama especially did this so that people could, and it was a small group of people, and they could come into their own self-respect. They could become free from all of this guilt tripping that was put on them by their Lokik families and by their gurus, and all of this in the Sindhi community. So now here we are now. We are a huge group of BKs. We are, I don't know, somebody told me we're 3 million. I don't know if that's true. I think we maybe have 1 million, but I mean, a few of us, we have been doing this for a long time. And a lot of people are aware that they do carry ancient wounds in their subconscious, which interferes with their spiritual progress. And so this is what yoga is really all about. It is a way, when you are in deep tapasya, you are focused on God, it causes all of your junk to come to the surface. And this is usually known as storms of Maya. And people think they're bad, but actually they're really good because they let you know what is the junk that has been put into you. And so yoga is as a purification process, and you have to let things come to the surface and then flow away from you and not suppress them or repress them as a lot of people think they should do. That will not enable you to be free or karmatit or in your own power. You'll just remain like all the other people who are worried about sins. So I would say that sin and trauma is connected. And I would say that your reaction to your trauma, as told before about how psychologists identify this as fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, that is behavior which is very counterproductive to yourself, as opposed to purusharat, which we call effort, but it's really not. It's really doing what is needed for the sake of yourself, really coming into your power, becoming the deity soul that you are already and are destined to be again. And so this is a huge amount of work to do, which is very deep work, but it's work all about becoming free. And this is also called karmatit. So the aim of our Raj Yoga is to become karmatit, but we have to understand the vast difference between religious approach to things and spiritual approach to things. I think these two get very mixed up, so it's quite useful to spend time with yourself and distinguishing these things, and understanding that, okay, everybody makes mistakes, everybody does bad things. That doesn't make you a sinner. It's like it happened, so okay, what you can do about it? Do you understand why it happened? What was the deep underlying cause of it? Because what Baba says, unlike the Bible tells you you're born in sin, you're born a sinner. No, he says no. You're a pure, peaceful, powerful, loveful, blissful being of light, and after 84 births, you lose power. You became body conscious, and when you do that, you act on the basis of weakness. So I would change the word sin to the word weak.
Mm.
And you see, if somebody's weak, you don't punish them, you give them a hand up, So punishing people for doing wrong is very counterproductive, actually. You have to rehabilitate, not punish. It doesn't work. It's not justice. It's lack of understanding. So, okay, somebody does something wrong. Okay, fair enough. But why do they do something wrong? Because they're weak. You see, and what makes you weak is lack of spiritual power. Why do we do yoga? to acquire spiritual power, which enables us to do actions which are strong, not weak. Simple as that.
Yeah, thank you, Denise. I think to have that awareness, to understand that we are at moment, for example, myself, I'm weak. But sometimes when I'm weak, I don't have power and I don't, how can I have that? What will be the first step to increase, to have that awareness, what I need to do before using other, I don't have any powers. I mean, how can, what's the first step I need to do? Sitting there in yoga, no yoga. I don't have any yoga. I can't hear anything. So I cannot even hear myself. Yeah, what would you recommend advice for this?
Well, you see, what Baba has told us is the most helpful thing for you is to remember me. All the time, he says, just remember me. And then we have a system, a practice of meditation. The most powerful or the most empowering time of meditation is your Amrit Vela, your 4 o'clock in the morning meditation. And it doesn't mean you have to hear something, see something, have a vision, or, go to the soul world or whatever. You are sitting there considering yourself to be, in quiet and thinking about your relationship with God. And even if you say to yourself, okay, nothing's happening, I'm not able to meditate, blah, 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 all of these things, it's okay, you showed up. That was good. And, there is a huge amount of resistance to yoga. So every so often you do have very amazing experiences, which is really Baba letting you know that he's aware that you're doing your best, and he's giving you a nice, pat on the back that congratulations, you're doing good. And here's a little gift of a beautiful experience. Keep going. And, what is also the case is that our study is the base of our yoga. And the thing which really, in my experience, which really enables yoga is to churn the knowledge. And so for me, this works really, really well. I'm a thinking type, and I really enjoy to sit with the Murli and work with it and try and figure out what's going on in there. What's he talking about? What does he really mean? That's why I always go to the Hindi. And I had the fortune that there was no English Murli in the beginning. So if you want to know what's going on, you better know Hindi. So, okay. And there are a few people who have learned it, and they like that they can play with the words and look at the different meanings of the words, because there are many meanings and many ways to interpret. And you churn and think and try to go into the depth of it. And this creates a sort of vortex of thought, which actually carries you up to the same dimension where Baba is, and you can then be in contact with him. This is work, It's nothing to do with meditation commentaries or anything like deep silence. No, you can't get into deep silence from the beginning. That comes at the end. And it lasts for some time. Could be very short, could be slightly long, but it's some time. And then when you have done this kind of work and you go into action, you're really in your power. But the thing that's important is to be careful that you don't go back into your old ways and all your power drains out of you. So you have to think about, maintaining a type of thinking and being and self-respect. And it's all about really honoring yourself. And the problem with the religious thing is yourself is last. It's always other people first. Whereas in Gyan, you're first, you know. And other people, they are scenes in the drama in many ways, you see. So you have to really understand, okay, what does it mean to be you? And express yourself and be yourself. And some people may like it, some people may not like it, but you're not here to be how other people want you to be. You're here to be you. And your all relations is with Baba. That means he's the only one who has the right to tell you anything. I mean, we're in a context of other people and so on, and people do tell you stuff, but you have your own conscience. You know whether you're doing right or not. You don't need somebody else to tell you. You're not a 2-year-old child, you know. And we have to honor this. We have to be the adult child, not a baby child, 2 years old. No. This is why I sometimes don't agree with translating the word bache as children. You know, this is sons. He says, all souls are male, you are my sons. Come on, it's about an inheritance here. Claim the inheritance. Become who you are destined to be, who you were in the first place. And forget about forgetting yourself. And forget about pleasing other people just because, I don't know why you would want to please other people, because it goes against who you are, you see. This is something that's taught to children. You have to please everybody, you have to behave properly, you have to be polite, blah, blah, blah. And if you do that for longer than childhood, you put yourself in a bad situation.
Thank you so much, Denise. There's another question here, and it says, can you clarify the understanding, the expression that Baba sometimes says or other daddies says, seniors, that Baba knows, and that of he keeps someone in a certain position is because the person was chosen by Baba, an instrument, and as such should be respected and people should obey.
Well, no, Baba never said anything like that as far as I can observe. You see, you get into a position, it's just like any corporate situation. You can find a way of getting to the top by doing certain things which get you to the top, which is not necessarily that you are a good person. You may or may not be. You may be a good administrator, but you may not be a good person. You may be a good person, but not a good administrator. So, you know, all of these positions are different than what people think. We are here not to obey anybody. You do need to represent yourself. There may be situations where you are asked to do something and you do not want to do that. Well, you have to say, no, I don't want to do that. It may be because it goes against your conscience. It may be because you have something else much more pressing and there are plenty of other people who could do that. So you have to say, no, I'm sorry, I'm not available for this. You know, we're volunteers. I don't know if you noticed. And obedience, you know, I generally say, you know, basically obedience is for dogs, not for people. So, no, we don't have to obey. If God himself is saying something to me personally, and he says, I want you to do this, like with this name Vijayanti, you know, I really was quite loath to use it because of so much reaction from the BK world. But he says, no, I gave you this name and I want you to use it. Will you do this? I say, I will do this for you. Even though it may cause a lot of disturbance, but you want this, I'll do it. So yeah, we will obey Baba, but that's not the same as obeying people. We don't have to obey people. We have to consult. They have to consult with us. Will you do this? Will you not do this? Yes, no. We decide. We say yes or we say no. Can't say yes to everything like some kind of zombie. We are not zombies. Sorry.
Nice. Yeah, I'm time conscious, so we have a couple of minutes left, and I would like to read two comments. There are some others, but these two I would like to read. So your name, Baba's, the name given by Baba is very well accepted. So this so says, Sister Jayanti, if we are 3 millions, I think 1 million is trying to understand and live as a true Brahmin, if necessary, to create sporadic classes with you, because there are some seniors, they don't have your background, and I don't diminish anyone, but the truth, BK needed.
Well, I thank you very much for what you're saying, and I'm doing my best to, offer what I do at the Murli Notes. I was doing earlier the EGY, which I haven't done forever because time, energy, so many things happen, and this Zoom was arranged by Sister Patricia of Belo Horizonte in Brazil, and I sort of extended it to all those who are in my contact, and so we did it like that. And I'm very happy to discipline myself and organize myself properly to be able to do this more and better. And yes, I hear you. Thank you.
Thank you. Many thanks to Sister Patricia, to your initiative to make, and everyone also to make this happen. I think we have 5 minutes. Denise, shall we have some minutes of silence and meditation as you like?
Most certainly. Let us do that.
I think there's maybe one more. Okay.
Do you have another question we can
No, it's not question. Okay. There's someone asking a question about today's Murli. So in today's Murli, Baba said, you must not give a lot of time to making effort for yourself now. Take time to give to others, and this giving will become receiving. How, could you expand on this? How do you interpret what Baba said?
Well,
and can I add one more question? It's related to today's Murli. I asked also this morning at Murli class, when Baba said, be economical with your time and powers. How do you understand be economical with the powers? Thank you.
I think economical with your time is easy to understand. Economical with your powers is, I think it's all about, and connected with the previous point about, you shouldn't be spending a lot of effort on yourself. What I take it to mean is that don't do this like a child. Do this like an adult. Be efficient, be effective, and really be adult. I have a problem with the tendency in BKs to make everything into children and babies and that stuff, which includes the word obedience. we have to take responsibility and make sure that we are operating in an effective, efficient way, because then we'll be able to extend our attention to other people. But as long as we are still doing things like school kids, that's not going to work. So I'm very much in favor of us really coming into our power, coming into our adulthood, and not operating like little children and not doing classes like little children, because this is a spiritual university and we're not doing our bachelor's, we're doing our doctorate. So we need to be competent and take it seriously, I think.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have 2 minutes.
So let's just share a few moments of silence, and thank you so much, Kim-In, for mentioning all the questions and everything. Om Shanti.